Hi everyone, welcome back. This is the sixth video in the series of integrations, and in this video again we'll talk about the integration between two ServiceNow instances, instance A and instance B. In the past we have discussed about it using basic auth as the authentication type, but in this video we'll deep dive into the OAuth 2.0 configuration. So the instance which is open in front of you right now is my instance A and this is my instance B. So let's get started. First of all, in my instance B, I'm going to set up an endpoint. So let's click on new. I'll click on create an OAuth API endpoint for external clients. Client ID is automatically generated. So I am going to give it this name, demo OAuth endpoint, and let's reduce it to 600, and let's reduce this to, let's say, 1800, and I'm going to save my record. So my client secret is automatically generated. Now I'm going to go to my instance B and I'll do the corresponding activity. Sorry, this is my instance A, not B. The previous one was instance B. And now I need to again configure an OAuth server with the client ID and client secret, which are present as part of the instance B. So here I'm going to select this option, connect to a third-party OAuth provider. So let's copy the client ID from here. And I will again copy the client secret as well. Now let's use resource owner password credentials. This one I have modified to 1800, so let's do that here as well because it will be in sync with this field. And now coming to the next part, I need to specify a token URL which should be from my instance B. So let me copy the URL and I'm going to paste it over here. Let's save this. So this part is done, and a default OAuth entity profile is also created when I save this record. Now I am going to navigate to list messages and I will create one for this. So again, corresponding name. And I'm going to select authentication type as OAuth 2.0. The profile is this one, demo OAuth server default profile, which was just created. Let me save this record. So it says that OAuth access or refresh tokens are not available, and click on get OAuth token. Since I am using the resource owner profile, let's click on get OAuth token first. Let's see how it goes. So it is asking me for username and password. Since I am using the resource owner password credentials as the type in my application registry. Let me show that to you again. Over here, so I need a valid account in the instance B, which can be used over here. So let's create a user profile. Click new. Okay, then the user profile is created, and now I'm going to try again so that I am able to get an access token and a refresh token. I am back in my instance A, just message, and this is the REST message which I created a couple of seconds back. If I click on get OAuth token now, I can specify the profile which exists in the other instance. Let's click on get OAuth token and see if this works fine. So this worked and tokens should be available now. Since I have set the time to half an hour, the refresh token will expire in next half an hour. Let's reload the page once. And we can also take a look at the generated tokens over here. Go to manage tokens. And you can see over here that an access token is generated and a refresh token is also available. Same can be used as long as these are valid to carry out any further operations. For example, creating an incident in the other instance. Now, this was the one-time activity, but uh, as I said, my refresh token is only valid for 30 minutes, and that is just done for this particular demo. But in usual cases as well, my refresh token would be valid for, let's say, a couple of months. But what after that? So as not to come back to this REST message and do this manual activity, we need to come up with something so that once a particular refresh token is expired, the next one will be automatically generated and we don't need to do anything manually. So to accomplish that, what can be done is I can create a schedule job which makes sure that whenever a refresh token is available, it is stored in one of the system property and I can fetch it from that system property to generate access tokens in the near future. Let's see how we can do that. Let's navigate to schedule jobs. and I'm going to select a runner script of your choosing. And let's say my refresh token is valid for 3 months, so I can run this particular script. Uh, let's say periodically, and I can select after every 90 days, and I can give the name as generate refresh token, and let's so I'm going to call one of my script includes over here. Here it is. And my function name would be generate refresh token. Alright, let's save the schedule job and copy the function name. Now to generate the refresh token via a script, I am going to use Auth Client API. So let's see how we can make use of the server-side API which is available out of the box. So first of all, the name of my API is GlideOAuth. Okay, it doesn't show up this way. That's fine. So I will have to write it manually. I think A over here should be in caps. So I have declared my GlideOAuth Client API. Now using this API, I need to request a token. So I am going to call it this way, OAuthCLI dot. There's a function named request token, which not only gives us the refresh token but access token as well as the expiry time of the access token. So the first parameter here is the name of my OAuth profile which I've created in the instance. So let's go back and copy the same. It's this one. And the second parameter would be the couple of other parameters which are mandatory for us to communicate with the other instance, like the grant type of the request, uh, the user profile which we are using to generate that particular token. So let me quickly add those things. First one is going to be grant type. Okay. Second one is username. So the name of the user which I am using is over here, demo underscore OAuth. There's a better way to pass these parameters by storing them in a system property, not including in the code itself. But I'm simply writing it in the server-side script itself, just to quickly wrap up the things. And password also is same. Now I need to convert it into JSON, encode it, and send it over. And I can simply pass this over here. Okay, so this is all about generating a token via this particular script. So in this tokens object, I will be having access token, refresh token, and the expiry time of my access token. So let's change the name to response. Now here I can response.get token, and using the tokens object now I can simply get my refresh token. I can either store it in a variable or either I can simply pass it to a system property. Let's directly pass it. This is the name of a function which I am trying to recall. I think it is gs.set property. If it doesn't work, we'll come back to it later. So here I need to pass the name of the property, and then I need to pass the refresh token over here. So I have not passed the name of the system property yet because it is not yet created. So let's do it right away. And save it. Let's pass the property name. And save our script include as well. So as and when that scheduled job will run, it will run this piece of code and generate the refresh token for us and save it into that particular system property. So if I see this now, it is empty, and let's check a scheduled job and try to execute it to check whether it is actually working fine or not. Where are you? Yes. Execute now. And so this is my refresh token which is generated and is being set into the system property. So this code will work. We don't need to worry about that. Now the next part is I want the ability to be able to create an incident in the instance B using the configuration that I have already done. So whatever we have done, let's summarize that first. First of all, we have created an endpoint in the instance B, which should be accessible from instance A. We have created, second part is we created the configuration in the instance A to point to the endpoint to generate a token from the instance B. Third part, we created a REST message, and to get started with the things, we clicked on get OAuth token and entered the credentials of the user profile that we created in the instance B. That has to be a starting point. There is no other way until and unless we are planning to go ahead with only the GlideOAuth Client API. And the fourth part is we made sure that even if the refresh token expires after a couple of months, um, in our case I considered 3 months because that is by default which ServiceNow considers. So after 3 months, my refresh token will be automatically generated so that things don't get big and there is no manual intervention required. So these 4 points are done. Now I will be trying to create an incident in the instance B using the access token. And yes, that's it. Let's get started. So let me go back to the REST message which I created. So this is my REST message, and let's create a new HTTP method over here, and I'm going to name it create incident. It should be of type post, and here the endpoint, I'm going to give the endpoint of table API for now. So what should be the URL? Let's copy. Okay, so my first header would be content type. I'm going to send JSON data. For now, I'm going to select authentication as no. And my second header would be authorization. And here I need to pass my access token. So how can I pass that? Let's create a variable so that I don't have to hard code it, and whatever access token is applicable at that particular moment, I'm gonna get it and I'm going to set this particular variable. Now let's add some content. description is next comes my description part. Okay, then let's save this. And auto generate variables. I have hard coded the short description for now, but these also ideally should come from the incident itself. So as of now, the access token value is empty, and okay, I think this works fine for now, and I'm going to go back to the business rules, which will trigger this particular REST message. Okay, wait a minute. Let me first copy the script which is available so that I don't have to make an extra effort. Okay, so let's click on new. Name I'm going to give a send incident to instance B. Table should be incident. Advanced. For now, I'm going to use after insert because I am not planning to store the response. So let it take whatever time it wants to take, and it will be triggered immediately after the record is inserted into the database. Now coming to the script part, I need to pass on my access token over here. So the one which we requested in the beginning by clicking on get auth token was valid only for, let's say, a couple of minutes. So in the future, if something is needed, we can simply generate it by writing some scripts. and it will be generated using the same refresh token which we already have as part of one of the system properties. So let's say how we can do that. So I'm going to proceed in the same way. This is my script include, and I'm going to get access token by creating a function over here. Now I need to pass the system property which is going to give me my refresh token. So ideally whenever we are creating such functions in a script include, the ideology is that it should be loosely coupled so that it can be used by multiple different integrations which are already there in your instance. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay, get access token. I'm wondering if this is a reserved function or word which is used in the backend by ServiceNow. So let's change the name to get demo access token. So this is where my refresh token is passed by me already in the business tool, and now I'm going to see how I can request an access token using my refresh token. So there is another API which is available out of the box, and that is also a server-side API. The name of the API is GlideOAuthClient Client Api. So I hope I have used everything. Oh, sorry. This needs to be new. Since I'm creating an object of GlideOAuth Client Request API, and then I'm going to set the grant type, which in this case should be refresh token. Since I am not requesting the refresh token and access token from the scratch, I am only requesting an access token. I already have the refresh token with me. So CLI request dot set grant type. It is going to be refresh token, and then I need to set my refresh token as well. Which I am already getting from my business rule, passed into this function as a parameter. So what next? If you want, you can also pass scope. I have not defined any scope yet, so I will pass it as null or empty. Now I'm going to again use my OAuth Client API to request the access token. this is the same function which we have already used. Okay, control space doesn't work here. Here again I need to pass the name of my profile which I created, and that is demo OAuth server, and the second parameter would be my client request, this one. So this would give me a response in return, and I can use this response to get tokens. And I can simply return my access token from here. Alright, so this part is done, and I have my access token from here, which I am further going to use in my business tool, so that I can pass it to my REST message, and accordingly I should be able to create an incident. So let's save this, and I am back in my business tool. I am getting an access token over here, which I need to pass in my code. So this looks fine, and how do I know that something is created? Let me add an info message. But I won't see this because it might take some time. But let's see how this is going to work. Let's create an incident now. Incident, create new. It doesn't matter what short description and description we're passing, since I've already hard coded these. Let's save this record. Okay, so something is created. I can see the response on my screen, and this is the incident number. Let's go check it out in the instance B if it is actually created or not. Okay, yes, it seems to be created. This is the short description which I have given uh, as a hard-coded one in my instance A. For some reason description is not populated, but that could be due to several other reasons which needs to be looked into for some reason or the other. We can check it later. But this is how an OAuth integration works. First of all, you need to generate that refresh token by clicking on get OAuth token, which is your starting point. And for the future cases, you can simply use the GlideOAuthClient APIs and generate your refresh token. and using that refresh token, again you can generate your access token. It depends on you how you want to do it, whether you want to rely on the scripting part using your server-side APIs, or whether you want to completely rely on the REST message and do it that particular way. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.